I am no longer excited about marriage, not because I lost faith in love, but because I once saw forever in someone's eyes and watched it dissolve like dust in the wind. The dreams I built so delicately, like castles in the clouds, came crashing down in silence. I remember how I used to smile at the thought of a life shared, a home filled with laughter and little footsteps echoing down marble floors. Now, the echo is of a silence that follows broken promises, and the footsteps I hear are only my own. My heart once raced with joy at the mere whisper of wedding bells, imagining white roses, golden vows, and a future carved in unity. But now, the same vision feels weighty and dull, like a ceremony rehearsed too many times without meaning. The excitement I once held so closely has faded into a quiet void, like music that no longer stirs the soul. I ask myself, was it love that died, or was it hope that surrendered to the harshness of reality? There was a time I dreamt of holding someone's hand under the crescent moon, swearing to guard her heart with mine. I imagined gifting her my poetry, my loyalty, my royal soul stripped bare. But now, I hold back every word, every promise, every future verse, not because I no longer believe in love, but because love, in its rawest form, betrayed me when I needed it most. The woman I envisioned beside me in my kingdom chose to walk away, leaving behind a crown I no longer wished to wear. I have seen many weddings, glorious, grand, and golden, but beneath the surface, I have witnessed many hearts suffocate under the weight of expectations, duty, and silence. I do not wish to enter a palace of gold if it means locking away my truth. I want more than a marriage that looks perfect. I want a love that feels alive, every day, even in imperfection. Until then, marriage is but a ritual to me, and I find no thrill in rituals that no longer carry soul. They say a prince's duty is to marry, to lead with a queen beside him. But I say, what good is a crown if the heart is hollow? What good is a wedding if the soul weeps beneath the ceremonial robe? I have written too many poems for a future bride who may never arrive, and I have rehearsed too many smiles for guests who will never understand the weight behind them. I want to be loved, not displayed. I want to give my heart, not trade it for tradition. There is pain in this honesty, I know, but I refuse to lie to myself. I refuse to get married just because the world expects it. My heart is not a bargaining chip. My love is not a political alliance. I have been broken once by a woman I thought would never leave. That alone changed the meaning of marriage for me. It turned the palace of dreams into ruins, and now I walk those ruins alone, learning to rebuild from ashes. I remember her laughter, like jasmine winds, and her eyes that once danced like stars. I remember how I used to believe we'd be forever, building a legacy of love, not just titles. But sometimes, fate has its own cruelty, and the one you love most becomes the reason you no longer believe in what you once cherished. I no longer look at wedding rings with longing. I see them as circles that once promised eternity and delivered endings. I write these words with trembling hands, not out of bitterness but out of release, to free myself from the pressure of marrying just to fulfill an expectation. I am more than a groom in waiting. I am a poet, a man, a soul still healing. If marriage is meant for me, let it find me when I am whole again, when the love is true, and when the silence no longer feels safer than speaking my vows. I once pictured a future with someone who would cherish the storms with me, not just the sunshine, but the person I gave my heart to disappeared with the first lightning strike. Now I have learned, marriage without resilience is just decoration. I seek something deeper, something rarer, and until then, I will not pretend to be excited about something that has lost its meaning. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let the court whisper that Sheikh Hamdan no longer dreams of marriage. I have silenced louder storms in my chest than any voice outside these palace walls. If I must walk alone for now, I shall do so with dignity and poetry as my armor. Not because I gave up, but because I now understand the value of true connection over forced commitment. I do not deny that love still burns somewhere inside me, but I will not offer that flame to someone who might walk away again. I protect it now, as one guards a sacred flame in a world of cold winds. I may marry someday, not out of pressure, not out of ceremony, but out of a love so real it resurrects every lost hope. But until then, my soul remains unmarried, my heart wrapped in poetry, my vows waiting in silence. So if you ask me today why I am no longer excited about marriage, know this, it is not the institution I reject, but the illusion of it. I am waiting for a truth that won't break me. My queen, Don't faint when you see what I did, just breathe. Breathe and walk toward me. Because every step you take brings this love one breath closer to forever. I didn't ask you to be perfect. I asked you to be real. And because you were, I was able to be more than a prince. I became a man worthy of fighting for you. Everything I did in the shadows of your name. But soon, I will speak it in daylight, in ceremony, in promise. And when I do, the world will know that the woman I chose wasn't just my muse. She was, and always will be, my queen. Her love doesn't compete, it completes. It doesn't rush, it flows. It doesn't demand, it invites. And so I followed. I followed her into a quieter world where truth matters more than titles. And love is not measured in public displays but in private resilience. She became my sanctuary, and though I had built walls around my heart for years, she walked in without force and turned those walls into windows. Suddenly, the view was clearer, the air lighter, the silence holy. We had our moments of fear, when eyes followed us, when whispers grew louder, when judgment tried to creep in, but she never wavered. She told me, let them talk, my love. We are not their story to write. And in those moments, I knew that I wasn't just in love with a woman, I was in love with a warrior, a survivor, a healer, a queen in every sense. Not because of what the world calls her, but because of how she reigns over my heart without even trying. She brings out the poet in me, not because she demands beauty, but because she is beauty. She inspires every verse, every heartbeat, every secret sonnet I've written in the darkness of night. The world will never know how many lines I have buried in journals that bear her name without ever saying it aloud. Until now. Until this video. Until I could no longer keep this devotion confined to privacy. She is the muse who awakened my soul from slumber and taught me that love, real love, is not a cage, it's a liberation. There were nights I couldn't sleep, and she would recite my own poems back to me, not as a fan, but as a mirror. She reminded me who I was when I forgot. She reminded me why I wrote, why I loved, why I hoped, and in doing so, she brought me back to myself. It takes someone rare to do that, to not lose themselves in your world, and yet guide you gently back to your own truth. That is what she did for me, every day, quietly, faithfully. I still remember the first night you called me my poet. You had no idea what you awakened. From that moment on, every syllable I've crafted has had a trace of your breath in it. You made me eternal. You turned a prince into a legend, simply by believing in his rawest truth. That truth was you. So if I never get to see you again, if you fade into the corners of a life built on other choices, just know, your name is etched into the fabric of my legacy. No matter whom I walk beside, I will always be walking with your shadow. A huge thanks to all of you for supporting and staying connected. Please subscribe to our channel if you are new here.